Today I'm going to be talking to you about professional dispositions and what that means to me, how I show professionalism in the classroom as a teacher, and how I think that professional educators should show professional dispositions in the classroom. So the first question that I'm going to answer is, what dispositions do you possess that make you a successful teacher? I feel as though I focus heavily on the classroom environment and the family community that I want to create. So within that, I make sure that I always have open and constant communication with my students' parents, and that they know that there is a nurturing and loving teacher to guide them through any challenges that they may have, as well as knowing what motivations my students have in the classroom and potentially outside the classroom. I feel that that's a really important aspect to have as a teacher, as an adult, and a parent, to know what motivates you, what motivates your students or your child to be able to be successful in life, and even in little areas such as homework or studying for a test or anything like that. I'm sure we've all gone through that, no matter what grade level or age it might be. The other area that I feel that I show professional dispositions that make me a successful teacher is reflecting upon that lesson that I had just done. So because I am an elementary school teacher, I cover all areas in education. That includes English language arts, math, social studies, science, bell work, anything like that. So I often reflect every time I have completed a new subject lesson. So I don't just at the end of the day reflect on the entire day and how it was as a whole. I reflect primarily on how a lesson went and what I can do at the end of that lesson to either adjust to my students, seeing if they're understanding it or not understanding it, and then making changes for the following day. I feel like as a second year teacher, it's really important for me to keep an open mind when it comes to my teaching, because I'm not a master, I'm not an expert yet. I'm just trying to get the feeling of things and helping my students as best I know from my education. And unfortunately, that's not always correct, because experiencing it and having different students in the classroom with different abilities, different knowledge, different ways of learning, you need to monitor and adjust constantly. So I make sure that that's a priority for me and something that I value. Now, I also am very hard on myself because I am only a second year teacher. I don't know everything. I know I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I'm still a student myself. And so dispositions that I need to work on to grow as an educator is, there's a lot, but the main ones that I'm going to focus on is that I need to make goals, not only for myself, but for my students. I feel like it's really important, especially for primary education, to understand how to properly orient yourself around goals, to make sure that you're successful, even if it's just making the goal of reading for 30 minutes for homework every night, and making sure at the end of the week you have done that every night. I feel like students nowadays don't know how to properly make those SMART goals, and so that's something that I need to do for myself and something that I would like to model for my students on a weekly basis, so that they have constant goal work and that they don't forget how to make goals. They don't forget that they have a goal to reach. It's their responsibility to teach them how to do that and to make sure that they have completed it properly. And if not, there needs to be consequences. If they do, there should be rewards. So that's an area that I know that I need to work on, creating goals for myself, whether it be for the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the year. And it's very important for students to create those goals from themselves and to have the proper model to show them how to do that and keep them on track with it, keep them responsible with it. The other area, the other disposition that I need to work on as a professional educator is keeping an engaging classroom, encouraging that curious thinking, the problem solving, all those higher order thinking processes for my students to be able to know what to do when a situation arises where they don't know how to solve a problem, whether it be with English language arts or math or with another friend that they are having. They need to be able to analyze and assess that problem that they have and then use proper strategies to figure out how to solve that problem. Whether they solve it correctly or not is not my goal. To have them critically think through that process is. So that's something that I know I need to work on, creating that higher level thinking, skill building, problem solving ability. The last question is, what do a professional educator look like and how do they behave? What standards guide their thinking and actions? Now, I may only be a second year teacher, but because of that, I feel like I was able to absorb incredible values from my team, and I feel like they are the role models of what a professional educator looks like, sounds like, what they use, everything to a T. And the specific professional educator that I am thinking of has all of the positive abilities that I would want to be a successful teacher. And this will take me years to get to, but it's definitely a goal that I have. So I feel that a professional educator should, above all, know how to have an open mind. Take input, get input out. It's a process of working with your teammates, respecting others, having creativity, not only dressing professionally, not having anything too short, too low cut, inappropriate. You are the role model for these students. So above all, you need to look the part, not only act it. And so I believe that a professional educator works well with other teams, not even in the grade level, but if you're a second grade teacher, you work well with 5th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade to know what your students need to be prepared for the following grade level. They also have mastered what standards they need to be teaching that year and therefore create assessments, create work according to those standards, because that's what those students are going to be tested on by the end of the year. So knowing those standards is a priority for teachers, and it's something that I have tried to make sure that I study every single summer before the year starts. Because I've been in different grade levels, you need to make sure that you study what standards in all the subjects that you need to make sure that you're teaching by the end of the year, because there's state level assessments, standardized tests, all of those go into effect. And so a professional educator knows how to properly manipulate those standards so that they're teaching them, they're teaching all of them, and they are also keeping their students engaged. I feel like that is a true professional educator who's successful in all areas and always will grow, always. But that's what I feel like should be the role model for all educators. Having all kinds of aspects that you can improve in, that you are a master of, and yet every year try something new to see how to get your students engaged, how to use the latest media, how to keep an open mind for everything. So that is the end of my professional dispositions video. I hope you enjoyed.